Hey, this is Kirk.
And this is Byrd. It's the Kirk and Byrd Show. And we are going to do a little bit of PTI format tonight. We've got a couple of topics that we're going to run down, and we're going to give them no more than about 5 minutes. Some maybe a little shorter, some a little longer, just so we can hit a couple of things. And we don't have the rundown for you on the screen, but we do want to let you know we're going to talk about some of the high school VHSL state championship for spring sports. We're going to talk about college baseball. We'll talk about the NBA finals, some football scene in the state of Virginia on our major FBS programs, and then we'll talk about some recruiting and football recruiting in the state of Virginia. But Kirk, let's kick this off with the spring sports. Why don't you go ahead on and give us some of the results. You know, we had Jay on the show last week, and we all made some predictions. I know the biggest thing that I was looking forward to, and I'll go ahead on it and touch on it, is Colgan baseball, who had only lost one game this past season and 2 games going in the last 2 years. And last year they lost in the state finals. And then Jay and I were at the Colgan versus Herndon semifinal game. What'd you think about that game?
I think I got a sunburn. My head is peeling and my scalp is burned. But it was a good game. Very quickly, Colgan has 9 Division I players, and Herndon was very solid. They played well. I thought Colgan was a little tight, and I thought that Ryan Kennedy played a little tight. He settled down a little bit. The one run they scored on Kennedy was he hung a curveball. But that was just one of those games when you got 2 great teams, and then Brandon, and I'm so sorry I forgot his. I think it's Cassidy that's going to Christopher Newport. Great player, man! Wow, what a stud! He pitched like the last 5 or 6 innings, and somebody just blinked, and Herndon put it together and got a run. Somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose. But the story was the game before that, and that was Herndon or South Riding, Freedom South Riding was down 6-0 after the first inning. And then I want to say the 5th or 6th inning, might have been the 6th inning, they came back and scored 3 runs. And then in the 7th, they scored 5 more and they won 8-6. So I was talking to their kids after the game, and I said, you guys are either going to be, flat because all the air is out of your balloon from today, tomorrow, or you're a team of destiny. So I'm sure their coach took the team of destiny. But congratulations to Freedom South Riding, Loudoun County team. Great state championship, and 4 great teams. I think that, any of those teams could have won it. So
yeah, and they're actually a Region B team. They played Colgan a couple of times. They're in the Cedar Run district, and that they actually lost to Colgan in the regional final. So they're not quite Prince William County, but they are from Region B with Prince William, Loudoun. We have a couple of Loudoun Division 6 teams. So yeah, congratulations to Freedom South Riding. Why don't you? And the other thing I wanted to touch on very quickly was. My niece, Maya Byrd, was going for, I think she's won 2 individual state championships, 9th and 10th grade. Her 11th grade, 9th, 11th grade, 10th grade was canceled because of COVID. And I think she had a doubles state championship, but she was going to go for her 4th and 5th with the doubles and singles. And she was on track, but she got hurt. And she hurt her knee in the doubles. And so they would have, I think in the finals, would have played a team that they had crushed before, but she got hurt and she couldn't defend her singles title. But we're praying that things are going to be okay with her. I know she's getting an MRI today, but she's looking forward. She graduated from Maury yesterday, and she's looking forward to going to Old Dominion this fall.
Yep. Like I told you, with technology these days, and she's got a bright future at ODU, great tennis program. But so what we want to do is move through this fast because we're like trying to do 5 minutes and we got a lot of stuff to cover. So
yep, we got 2 minutes.
As I told you, we got to fly. No Northern Virginia teams in the semifinals and finals for baseball for Division V. And Douglas Freeman beat Glen Allen, 2 Richmond teams. And then in the semis, Glen Allen beat Nansemond River. So it was a 7-5-7 team. And another 7-5-7 team in Granby. And I thought the only thing interesting there was Independence and Riverside. There's great baseball up here in Northern Virginia, and neither of those teams. So it was a Nova-less baseball. We're not going to go 4 because, Rusty, it'll take us too much.
Oh, I know. No, 4, yeah, no.
But
5 and 6 quickly.
We want to move to let's go.
Just tell us about the finals for the remainder.
Yeah, that's fine. So soccer, and by the way, we had a podcast. It was the last one we did with Jay Golson where we made some predictions. So we want to just give these kids a shout out. We might go a little bit over 5 minutes, but Class 6, Langley beat James River. We predicted Langley, but James River beat McLean in a close one. And then Langley beat Lansdowne. So the Langley Saxons are the boys. And then for the ladies in Division 6, big upset here.
We had McLean and Langley, right?
No. Kellum upset South County.
That's right.
And Kellum played Yorktown in the finals. Yorktown defeated Patriot. I predicted Yorktown. I made a joke that they had Mia Hamm working out with them because that's a really nice school. But we want to congratulate the Yorktown girls soccer team for winning the Division 6. And then I'm very excited to talk about Division 5. In Division 5, I actually went to one of the games. And I predicted Kickingham would win. I will have to admit that was more of a sentimental favorite. I went to the Riverside Kickingham game. Riverside was superior in talent. Kickingham only had 2 kids on the bench. And I really thought Riverside was going to win the whole thing. So I talked to the kids from Cox. They were hanging out and getting ready for the next game. Real nice kids. They beat Deep Run 2-1. And probably a lot of people think that was the state championship, but Cox beat Riverside 2-0. So congratulations to Frank Cox, 7-5-7 team. Winning soccer over Richmond and Northern Virginia is a big story. And
absolutely,
yeah. And let's go to the Division 5 girls because they've got a team right down the road where I know a lot of students and parents. So the champions were the Briarwoods Falcons girls team. So congratulations, young ladies and their coach. I think we put out some tweets and they appreciated it. FC beat Deep Run. And again, nice showing by the Beach and 7-5-7. And then Briarwoods crushed Cox in the girls. So, and then evidently it was 1-0 close game. I rode by there when they were doing that. So, all right, let's flip over. And I know we want to talk about lacrosse. Lacrosse is big up here. So let's go to that. And I think, Rusty, based on what we talked about, everything held pretty true. So we had, Yorktown, Madison, and then we had Patriot Battlefield. All right. So both were close games. Madison beat Yorktown. I believe we all picked Madison to win. And then Battlefield beat Patriot. That's becoming that's going to be like a Bethel-Hampton rivalry, by the way.
Oh, yeah. They're close schools. Yeah. They're in every sport. In every sport, they battle.
So Madison beat Battlefield. So congratulations to James Madison which is another school that has an incredible sports program. State championship in football, they lost to Oscar Smith, and the girls won the basketball. Great sports program. And then for lacrosse, we want to go down to Division 5 in the boys, and we want to give congratulations to easily the best Division 5 team, and that's the kids from Lansdowne/Leesburg. The Riverside Rams dominated. They beat Deep Run 20-9. Briar Woods had a very close match. They beat Freeman. So it was an all Loudoun County. Riverside beat Briar Woods 15-3 with an exclamation point. So again, Riverside's another school outside of football where they went winless. And I know the coach, he's a great guy. He'll make it happen. That's a great program they have over there. So let's go over to our girls lacrosse, which, for any of our fans that don't know lacrosse, you got to be a great athlete. And it's a very exciting. We went to that Colgan game, Rusty. Remember that?
Yeah.
All right. So we've got, this is girls lacrosse. And we got Langley and Yorktown. Yorktown beat Langley 11-10. Do not have any details, but that's a heck of a game. We all picked Langley to win the whole thing, by the way. Me, you, and Jay. All right. Then we got Battlefield crushed John Champ from Loudoun County. And then Yorktown handled Battlefield. So congratulations to the Yorktown
18-8. Wow. Yeah.
They won it in soccer and they won it in lacrosse. And then for the Class 5, I want to get to this. And again, we had Riverside handily beat Deep Run. I keep hearing that name, Riverside. Freeman beat Independence, another Ashburn, Loudoun County team. And then Freeman beat Riverside. So Douglas Freeman, won more than one state championship. So big shout out to them. And
Freeman, where is Freeman? That's Richmond. In the Richmond area? Yeah, Richmond area.
Douglas Freeman's in Richmond.
Yep.
Kind of like one of the nicer country clubbish parts, that Mills Godwin. Not to stereotype them, but I know some people that went there. Okay, and then let's see. We want to, we got lacrosse. Oh, softball. We need to cover softball. And then, so softball, the classics, which was up here. Cosby beat McLean, and I believe we all picked McLean, so we were wrong. Madison crushed Manchester. Manchester's a Richmond area team. And then Madison beat Cosby 7-6. So again, James Madison, great sports program. Their girls are just incredible. So congratulations to the Warhawks.
Yeah, they have a great program of their softball program is tremendous. It reminds me of, isn't there like a huge rivalry out in Loudoun County with Broad Run? And is it Broad Run and Stonebridge? I know there's it used to be Parkview and Broad Run.
Broad Run used to be nationally ranked all the time. Things are cyclical. They're still very good. So, and that leads us to Division 5 softball. I got to the game for the soccer game and they were all walking out. I saw Mickey Thompson. And I thought he was walking out for a break. The game was over. It lasted like an hour and 15 minutes. So Stonebridge beat Granby. That was the game, the semi. Okay. And then they faced Hickory, which upset Woodgrove. I picked Woodgrove to win the whole thing. You and Jay picked Stonebridge to win. But a big congratulations to Stonebridge. They won a state championship in softball. Stonebridge is in the elite athletic program. If you go into their gym, they've got a lot of banners for a school that I believe is 21 years old. You can correct me on that, but that's a great school. It's a great community. Great parents, love going there for anything. They really support their kids. So congratulations to Stonebridge. Now,
I'll tell you, we're hearing a lot of the sub schools that repeatedly. So I just want to highlight a couple. So we've heard Madison with multiple state championships. softball, basketball, softball, girls basketball, but the boys football team lost in the state finals. The baseball team won it last year. We also, Yorktown has multiple state championships. You have a dominant Patriot Battlefield teams that didn't win anything, but they did well. I know the Battlefield boys, or maybe second track, Battlefield semifinals in football, Patriot also with their girls program. So a couple of schools are really standing out. And then if you go to other sports parts of the year, Varina sticks out in this calendar school year is winning the football and basketball boys state championship. Minchfield, so the PD got a state championship with the girls basketball, and of course Oscar Smith winning the Division 6 and state championship, and Stonebridge with multiple state championships in football, softball, and other sports. So I just want to give a shout out to those teams. Colgan High School did win the Division 6 volleyball, and they also had a tennis singles champion. So this has been a great year of high school football. We look forward to doing this again and staying on top of stuff for you guys. Was anything else you wanted to cover in the high school sports?
No, I mean, just a congratulations to the kids that made it to the state semifinals and got to the travel. And we didn't cover 1, 2, 3, and 4. But, that's a thrill for those kids, and they should be proud of that. And the bottom line is somebody has to win and somebody has to lose. I saw Colgan, their heads were down. They were devastated because it was their, they wanted to win the state championship. But the bottom line is that there's 2 teams out there. One of them's going to win and one of them's going to lose. And it's a great experience for life. The bottom line is you're going to lose a lot in life. You're going to win more, hopefully, but you're going to lose a lot. And, looking back on it, probably all makes sense. And we know that Mike Colangelo over there, will end up winning the state championship. But hats off to all these teams.
Right. The biggest thing isn't, they're going to always, hope that they had won, but they're going to look back with fondness over the many wins, but the relationships and those type of things are going to carry a lot more weight than necessarily winning the state championship. So congratulations to all of these teams. Now, Kirk, let's move on into college baseball. I got to tell you,
we don't have as much to cover, so this one we
don't. But I do want to highlight. We'll name some of the teams. There were a couple upsets in the final teams that are remaining in college baseball. But I was very proud of the fact that Virginia Tech was ranked number 3 this year. They had a great season. Tech won their region, right? The first round regional, and then they hosted in the super regional. Is that correct?
Yeah, in Blacksburg. They played Oklahoma.
In Blacksburg.
That's 2 out of 3.
And unfortunately, they lost to Oklahoma. But and then UVA, who's won a national championship in the last 10 years, but unfortunately, they did not advance or get any wins. I think they went on 2. And then my VCU
they went to the regional in Greenville, which East Carolina won, and went to the super regional. Right. And the only thing that I'll say is I don't follow UVA that close, but I do keep an ear on what the fans say. And UVA's pitching for what they have was not up to par. And I think that Wahoo Nation was expecting a little bit more, but we also had your alma mater, VCU, do very well. Why don't you talk about them, what they did?
Yeah, so I was excited. We were in the bracket with Georgia, and we played them. So no, I'm sorry. Yeah, this was hosted by UNC. So we were in the Carolina region, but we played Georgia in our first game, and we beat them. We beat Georgia 8-1, and then Carolina beat Hofstra. They killed them 15-4. But so we played Carolina in the next game, and we beat them. We beat Carolina 4-3. So we were 2-0. We just needed one more to advance, and But Georgia, then in the elimination game, they crushed Hofstra 24-1. But then when they played Carolina, they lost 6-5. And then we played Carolina twice. We had two chances to beat them. If we had won at least one, we would have moved on. But we lost to them in 19-8. They crushed us in that one. And then when we played again in the regional final, they beat us 7-3. But I'm very proud of my Rams. You know, we actually went. We didn't start the season off well, but we went on to a tremendous. I think at one point we got up to an 18-game winning streak to close out the regular season, and I'm just proud of what they've done. You know, and I'm hopefully when you show like this, we're able to, if we can start the season off a little stronger, but also hopefully this will help with recruiting. All right. Yeah, and again,
I was just going to add that the people in Norfolk on Hampton Boulevard, ODU Monarchs, were scratching their head as to why they didn't make a regional. So they had a very good record. Chris Chip Finwood, who played basketball, baseball for Hampton High School and started his coaching career at VMI. I mean, they really should have made it. And then Mason's got a great program. And, UVA's put a bunch of guys in the pros. But I do want to point out that Virginia Tech's got it going on, man. I mean, their facility is very nice. And, a baseball stadium is very different than a football or basketball stadium. You can make that thing a lot nicer incrementally. And that's a big recruiting tool. And they are stepping it up recruiting wise. So Virginia Tech is going to be a force to be reckoned with in baseball. We're not here to talk about softball, but the ladies softball also did extremely well. College baseball in the state of Virginia is in a very good shape, and we put out a lot of players, and we put a lot of players in the major leagues. So now we typically don't talk about the national things, because we feel like everybody. However, this is a very good NBA finals. We'll transition into the NBA finals. So Golden State's up 3-2, and the Celtics took an early lead. All right. And I predicted the Celtics in 7. So it's a 2-2, 1-1-1. So I believe, Rusty, help me out. Next game's in Boston?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So next game's in Boston. So we're going into game 6. If Golden State loses, they'll get a chance to wrap it up at home. But I don't know. I think, so let me just say this. It is so funny because I listen to a gazillion podcasts and radio shows and ESPN, and these so-called professional analysts, like they sound like they Wilbon, Bomani Jones, any of them. They change game to game, and they'll Boston wins, and Boston's going to win the whole thing. Golden State wins, they're going to win the whole thing. Like, I'm just looking at the overall makeup of the team and looking at the experience, and I just had a feeling Golden State would win this. And granted, they still may not. But when anytime I don't think people give Steph Curry enough credit. They're starting to see it. And he didn't have a great game, game 5, but still, like, this team. I mean, I hope Steph Curry gets the acknowledgement of being one of the top. I think he should be considered the top 5 player of all time. Well, and that's a discussion for another day. But when you consider, like, he's really what he's done to help change the game, but what he's done in turning that whole program around there, I see Golden State winning these last 2, whether they had to do it in Boston or at home. I think they're going to win.
And in media, how many tens of thousands of hours were spent on Draymond Green only scoring 2 points? We're not going to waste our time on that. But I was thinking about this topic today when you and I said we need to get on the air and do something. And that's this. All right. Older folks, we always talk about LeBron and Steph and KD. They couldn't play in the 80s. And what we have to realize is that's 35 or 40 years ago, right? Now, you think about in the 80s, like, all those Sixers, Celtics, Lakers, Detroit teams. Imagine if our parents would have been talking about teams from 35 to 40 years ago, which would have been in 1950. So I get where younger people are coming from. And I will tell you that Steph Curry could play, and of course LeBron, and of course Durant. Steph Curry could play any.
Let me say, the people that think today's people couldn't play back then are wrong. I know it was more physical, but let me just tell you something. I hear other shows when people talk about this, but let me tell you something, bro. If we have this nostalgia and what we thought, yeah, the game was tougher and people could fight and, it was whatever, hand checking, whatever. But no, the talent level now is so much better than it was. When you've got 7-footers draining 3-pointers,
right?
There are guys, I forget, there was a statistic, but there was like, I don't know what, I forget it. I don't know if it was the guy from Minnesota, but it's made more 3-pointers than Larry Byrd made in like 2 or 3 seasons, like this year. But the point is this: yeah, I understand what you're saying, because Bob Cousy, if Bob Cousy, now again, you go back to when we were in the mid 80s, if we went back 25 or 30 years before, Bob Cousy would not even be a Division I basketball player right now with that skill set. Now, what could happen is, because he was one of the greatest of that time, he probably could have developed and been one of the better players today.
Right. If players today went back to then, with fabric Converse, and you only played basketball in basketball season, and you played pickup ball, and basketball was not what it was, and athletics were not what it was, some of these guys now may not. It is a fun debate, but I will,
I know, but what I would say is this: we have this nostalgia because we were kids and we were growing up with our idols. But go back, watch some of the go back and watch games from the 80s. Go watch Celtics, Lakers. People talk about the defense. The defense wasn't better. They just could get away with more. They weren't playing good defense. The games were so slow. They were extremely slow. And so, but that's the thing about different eras, so.
Yeah. And, as time goes on, you look at kids like that are 25, 30 years old, and they look at Larry Byrd and they see a slower guy, but it was a different game. What they don't realize is, at a big 6'9", that guy really never played power forward. I mean, he was a swing. And and then Magic was not a great defender.
Yeah.
Magic was not a great defender nor a great shooter.
No, but he did get better as he went on. I think there was the statistic I heard where it was 1 year, maybe in the early 80s, where Magic Johnson only attempted 3-pointers and only made 1 on the whole year. But let me say this: there are certain players, they could play at any generation. Like Larry Bird could play right now and
light it up right now.
Hey, look, he just be like Luka. He just be like, the Joker. So some players, it would not matter. I think Wilt Chamberlain today would have dominated. Now, there are more 7-footers, but his athleticism.
He was an athlete. He was a very good athlete.
There you go. That's what I was going to say. His athleticism, he just would have trained and learned more about today's game and style. So anyway,
one last thing. Steph Curry's range, I don't think I've ever seen anybody with a better range.
No, he's clearly the best shooter of all time.
30 to 37 feet. I mean, when you get out past 30 and you're hitting all nets, and he does it all the time, he is on the Mount Rushmore. He is.
No, he is the greatest shooter, period. I'm talking
about all time, top 5.
Yeah.
He's one of the top 5.
I think he's one of the top 5 players of all time. And I'm going to tell you something. If he can get another championship or 2, you got to put him in a conversation with Jordan. Maybe I don't know if he gets 6, does he pass LeBron? I mean, he's just that great.
Yeah.
Just that great. All right. So.
Yeah, we can talk about that all day long. And by the way, we have an episode, Rusty, for our fans, Kirk and Byrd show on YouTube. We beg you to subscribe, but what we really care about is if you watch. But we have an episode that we have not published that I'll find on the best ever in football and basketball. But so we want to transition to spring sports are over. Football is full schedule. If you look at Twitter, kids are everywhere, man. They're everywhere. They're all over the place. There's all these camps. Your son went to a camp on Sunday at ODU.
Yep.
So let's stick to the FBS. So we're talking Tech, UVA, Madison, and ODU. So
and hold on, Liberty. You forgot about Liberty.
Is Liberty FC or FBS?
Yeah, they're FBS.
That's right. That's true. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it's a big summer. It's a very big summer. So Virginia Tech, new coaching staff. A lot of changes there. UVA, new coaching staff. JMU is going to Division One. ODU is this the second year with their coach?
This third year, they didn't play the COVID year. So
Okay.
This is the second season.
Right. So it's big. Tech just had their camps. They had a lot of kids come in. UVA picked up a couple of verbals. UVA picked up running back from Massaponax and then another running back from the state. So they got two Virginia running backs. And then UVA got the lineman from, is it Patriot?
Yes, UVA from Patriot. Yep.
Yeah, and I know his name. I just cannot think of it right now. But JMU's got a big transition. They're going to,
Cole Suber.
Yeah, Cole Serber.
Cole Serber.
Tall kid. Obviously, Virginia liked him, and he committed early. But
I believe he also had an offer from Duke. That he came pretty close to trying to decide between.
Yeah, Charlottesville's a lot closer. So JMU has got a big year coming up because they're going to be going to FCS, totally different ball game. They get more scholarships. However, they do not get to make up. They get to sign 25 this year, but they can't make up for the last 3 years. So it's going to be an interesting transition. And then if you go to their conference, they're going to be traveling more, things like that. I feel like JMU has a very bright football future, and they are someone they can recruit. If you think about where Harrisonburg is, if you put 150-mile, which is only a 2.5-hour drive, by the way, Rusty, if you put a 150-mile radius around Harrisonburg, you got to think about what they have. The major markets, they're going up into Pittsburgh, might be a stretch, 175, but JMU, I think, has a bright future. And then we're kind of waiting on ODU. I mean, what's your feeling on ODU? Because so many great players down there, but not quite like what Florida Atlantic has done with taking the leftovers in Florida, because Florida is so loaded. I mean, you're closer to the program. What are your thoughts on, ODU? Virginia Tech is opening in Norfolk, by the way, and I think we're going to be there.
Yeah, I think this ODU program is headed in the right direction. They're getting a number of local athletes, but I know they also have quarterback that's transferring in from Notre Dame that played for Manchester and led them to the state championship, I think in 2019.
Right.
So I think they're headed in the right direction. One of the things I was trying to figure out and remember is Old Dominion staying in the conference, or are they moving to the Sun Belt in 2022? I'm having a hard time remembering.
I don't know. I could look it up. I could Google it. I have another PC here.
No, it doesn't matter. I just know that there's going to be a lot. I would
doubt they'd be in different conferences.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. There was a lot of movement, and so I know some of the because of the American Athletic Conference kind of splitting up and Big 12 taking. There's like a whole shift, and I don't have the reshuffled list yet. But with JMU and OD, all these programs, I'm getting a little confused as to who's going to Conference USA, who's going to the Sun Belt and everything. But I think the ODU program is headed in the right direction. I think JMU, it will take them a little bit. It won't be as easy as some people think or hope. But Liberty made that transition pretty well and quickly. Made some noise. Beating Virginia Tech and beating some. I think they beat Syracuse, and so they've done fairly well over the last couple of years in their move up. I'm glad that the state of Virginia is now being having at least more than just two teams at the FBS level. So I'm looking forward to this year. And
I was going to say Malik Willis coming out of there and going to Tennessee. They've got a football. They're the first school in the state to have a football only facility. And I do want to make a side note. We're getting ready to get into recruiting, so I will wait for that because recruiting is red hot and football is king in America. But so I'll actually talk about that. But Liberty comes into play. So you and I were talking before about recruiting. So the class of 2023 is pretty much set. Right. And we talked about that. Penn State dominated more than North Carolina dominated this year because North Carolina cleaned up this year. So Penn State has done extremely well. And then Tech and UVA, both Tech, I think, did a little bit better than UVA in state, but nothing like yesteryear. And then I will say this about the class of 2023. It's as far as Virginia classes go, it's not at the bottom, but it's not at the top. I mean, I think they've only got two players ranked in the top 100, Alex Birchmeyer and the second player. They've got another top 100, but it's a good class. And then you got to give hats off to Ron Franklin. A couple years ago, I think he got the player from Louisa County and Rodney Slade and all these different
Ricky Slade.
I'm sorry. What did I call him? Rodney? Ricky. Yeah. Ricky Bobby. But
and I think you called Coach Franklin. I don't think you got his first name right either. But
did I call him Ron Franklin? I usually call him Ron Franklin, the announcer, instead of Jay.
Right, yeah. Yes, you did call him Ron. Just use last names.
Hey, Charles Barkley called Clark Kellogg Dick Clark one night in the NCAA tournament. So, but going into the recruiting, you and I were talking about this. So Brent Pry and Tony Elliott, Tech and UVA, they're out there. Everybody's talking about it. They are grinding, man. Quinn is the coach up here, and it's like he's living up here, and they're all over the place. The head coaches are going out, and what I was saying is to you off camera is next year, which is next year, 2024. All right, those are our rising juniors. There's going to be a turn in tide with Tech UVA, but we kind of were debating this a little bit. I don't think it's going to be a huge delta. I think Tech and UVA are going to get more kids and stop less kids from going to the SEC and the Big Ten. But I don't think it's going to be, major. I think it's going to take 2 and 3 years to build the relationships.
So let me just say this. First of all, I looked at this top 40 of class of 2023 kids, and Penn State has 5 of the top 7. UNC has 2 of the top 9. And then, we get to Virginia Tech right now with 2023. Their top is Elijah Hughes at a 3-star at number 12, right now. But let me say this. I don't get caught up in this in terms of definitely getting all these Virginia recruits if they're not the best players. Like I want us to recruit in the 757 in the state of Virginia, but I'm looking here like 2023 now. Again, this is going into their senior year, but we only have right now only 2 kids that are 4 stars, and we have no 5 stars right now in the state of Virginia. So in 2023, so like, look, if you can get a 5-star out of Delaware, I don't care. Just get the best players you can. I like that they're coming to the schools in Virginia, but if we don't have the best players, get the best players. And what we're not really acknowledging here is how well are they doing in the transfer portal? Because these are kids. They haven't stepped 1 foot on the field, on a college field. And hey, maybe Virginia Tech's winning the transfer portal. That's a whole other aspect.
We can't get into the transfer portal. But
no, not now.
But they've got 2 quarterbacks coming out of the transfer portal, South Carolina and Marshall. It's my understanding that the kid from Marshall, we're getting old, man, because his father was in 2 dorms over from me. And that's the guy. Of course, I have a daughter older than that kid. But so I believe the Marshall kid is looking like the starter, and the South Carolina kid, who I believe only has 1 or maybe 1-2 years, is looking like the backup. But I will say this. I believe that Virginia Tech and UVA both will do better, because they've been given the orders. And, a big thing to note is that Virginia Tech, their salaries for coaches, assistant coaches, I believe, went up $1.5 million. That's a lot of money. 3.7 million outside of the head coach. Mm-hmm. And it used to be 2.2. And UVA spending more money. They broke ground on a football-only complex. They're going to show that stuff off. They're going to tell their story. We're going to tell ours. And, I just believe it's an exciting time right now. You and I watch. The big thing now is the kids. And I don't want to get into a whole different subject about social media, but kids are they got letters that they take pictures of the mail, and then they're honored to get an offer, et cetera, et cetera. And, the thing is that this is a journey, this is a marathon, not a sprint. And, because somebody's got 25 offers right now, there's some kid sitting right now that does not have an offer and may not get an offer till his senior year that's going to play in the NFL. And there's some of these other kids that have Georgia, Michigan, et cetera, that won't play significantly in college. So all the kids out there, it's going to be fine. And I would tell you, Rusty, I do believe that we need to have a pipeline to our Virginia high schools the way we used to have. I really believe that, because you talk about 5 stars and all that, but you think about the great Virginia players that were 2 and 3 stars. And I'm starting to read, Virginia Tech used to own Western Branch outside of Dre Bly. All right. Deep Creek was really good. Phoebus after a while. So go ahead.
So let me say this. It's not about the stars at all. What I want them to do is what they're doing. Be in the schools. Go into those living rooms. Just be there. And I feel like the last 2, the leadership in UVA, Virginia Tech, and from what I've heard, they weren't there. So it's not about 2022 or 2023. It's about developing the relationships. So when the kid that we really, that in 2 years and 3 years, it's not the first time he's been to a school. And that's what I'm talking about. That's and having and being able to, if you have those relationships and you go into a Bethel High School and the kid has no stars, but he says, this kid's a baller. Imagine this. Back in the day, if you were a receiver at Bethel High School, who would know it? Because back in the 70s, they ran the wishbone and they didn't complete maybe 15 passes all year. But somebody might be able to say, we didn't run that system here, but he's an athlete and he'd be great. So that's what I'm talking about. Who can tell me who the ballers are? Because with all these different systems we have and things going on, who are the real football players? And that's what I see the value in UVA and Virginia Tech developing those relationships. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say that, I'm looking at 247's top 40. I don't know if they call it 24/7. And we pride ourselves on, we're not going to talk about recruiting like they talk about it. Like, there's some hunches I have that I think some kids are going to commit to certain schools, and I'm just not going to say, because I don't think it's fair to make money off of doing interviews and kids and get ads and all that. Because if you look on Huddle, brother, let me tell you, you look on Huddle. I was talking to a prospect, and I was like, man, you've got 3 major ads, car companies or whatever, on your Huddle because of the views. But what I'm saying is this is going to close, Rusty, in the next 6 to 8 weeks, and almost all these kids are going to be committed in this top 40. And then we're going to the class of 2024, the class I was talking about. And that's a good class. And I will say that that one's going to be a little bit different. I think you're going to see Tech and UVA pull off some, like, wow, that kid typically goes, And by the way, it sounds like the kid from Mountain View is the best player in 2024. Georgia just offered him. So he's very good. There's 2 linemen in Loudoun County. Our buddy Fletcher Westfall, little baby face, he's in the top about 6, 7. He's got 20 offers. There's another kid out at, I believe it's Woodgrove, not Loudoun Valley, a real big lineman. And based on chatter, it's all chatter, man. It changes like every day. But there's a lot more kids looking at Virginia Tech and the UVA. I can tell you there's a tight end in Richmond. They think he's leaning heavily. And lastly, Oscar Smith is loaded, man, with juniors and sophomores right now. They're loaded. Green Run next year. Wow, man, they're going to be good. Highland Springs. And we're talking about recruiting, but if you look at these recruiting lists, they're, you see the players and where they're going. And so that about wraps it up. I'm gonna throw a curveball at you.
Okay.
Let me ask you a couple questions. So and we'll let go. What do you like if you extrapolate out what do you see the future of Kim Kardashian and Pete Davidson from Saturday Night Live? How long do you think they're going to last? She's not divorced from Kanye yet, but what do you think? You think she'll marry him? How long do you think she's going to be with him?
Well, Pete is Pete, and from what I understand, Pete's a little, and he says how he's a little crazy. I think it's just a passing thing. I don't think they'll get married. She's going to enjoy her divorce and freedom, and she'll just kind of do her thing. I definitely don't think they'll get married. I think Pete's loving the fact that he's agitating Kanye. So no marriage, but he's going to enjoy himself Pete's going to enjoy himself in the meantime.
All right.
And yeah.
How long do you give it? Over under.
How long?
Pete Davidson.
How long have they already been together?
October.
It hasn't. Okay.
So coming up 9 months, and she's not divorced yet.
No. Right. I say by October 2023, it's a wrap.
Okay.
So 2 years. I'm saying 2 years. They won't go past 2 years.
All right. 3 questions.
Under 2 years. Yep.
3 questions. Any chance she gets back with Kanye?
No, he's crazy.
Okay. Is it going to be a baller or an entertainer?
It will be a baller.
She'll be a baller.
Yeah. Okay. She's got 2 entertainers. Her last 2 have been entertainers. It's time to go back to a baller.
Now, unlike J-Lo.
And, she may be going after some sports podcasters. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm married, so I'm but
your wife's better looking than her. But let's get to this. So let's talk about this. Now the question is she sowing her wild oats because she tends to like the brothers with a little bit of darker skin, and Pete's a little pigmentation challenge. So is this just a little walk on the wild side with her? Is she going to go? We think it's going to be a baller, right?
Yeah,
we got Reggie Bush.
Yeah. I get her and her sisters mixed up with who dated who and whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know what she'll what and how she'll go. Who's popular at the time? you know.
Yeah. I will tell you this, man. If you watch the show, I don't think it's on anymore. It's actually
The Kardashians.
Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
I've never watched it, but I think it's still on. I think I saw an ad for it on.
Well, a few years ago, my younger kids were fighting like crazy. I put Keeping Up with the Kardashians on. They sat there and they were perfect. They had never watched they had never watched a Jerry Springer show. So I put on the Jerry Springer show and they were hooked. My second question is this: we got a new Bachelor coming up. So the last one, whatever. So you ever watch that?
No, I've never really.
The Bachelor is much better than the Bachelorette. Okay, because the Bachelorette's one thing, but it's so funny because when they have the Bachelor, the girls fight like cats and dogs, and they're we're saying wow, and they're all like teaming up and talking stuff about each other. Maybe they've almost had some blows or whatever, and they've had girls that have had to leave the house. But the thing that I like about the Bachelor, man, is when the dudes cry, right? So they're like, they get to the finals and like they go home with, I think it's like 3 girls, and it's like they cry with all 3 of them, right? You know, and then they go home and they meet the parents and like the dads and the brothers of the girls are like all that. So my over under, man, is I think this new Bachelor, I believe he's from Chicago, and I don't think it's hit mainstream, but I love when the guys cry, man. It's just the best TV ever. And I'm gonna say the over under for this guy's gonna cry 4 or 5 times, because when he has to go to the finals, you get a rose and all that stuff. We're talking like he'll cry because he likes this girl so much. They had just such a connection. So there we go. That's a little curveball. Right. That's a little curveball for you. All right. How did we do on time? Because we both talk too much.
My overall timer did not operate as I had hoped.
All right.
I know I'm saying we're probably at about 38 minutes.
38. Hey, 38 special as Eric Clapton's After Midnight. We're going to let it all hang out. It's 12:02. Good night, Rusty.
Yeah, man.
We got some exciting stuff going on. All right.
Okay, bro. All right, good. All right. Hey, Kirk and Byrd Show. Don't forget you can watch us on YouTube, but we're out there on Spotify.
Just Google us.
Google Music. Yeah, Google us. And when you Google us, we're going to be updating our website. So
we're rebranding. We're rebranding. We're doing some things. We're working on some guests. Right now is a great time for football on the professional and college level, because they're taking a little bit of time to uncharge their batteries, and we've got some things on the horizon. And of course, we're excited for high school football to start. Mickey Thompson, I saw him at the softball game. I said, hey, we're looking forward to having you. He's like, you don't want me on. We're not going to be any good next year. Same old story, Right. So, but have a good night. Be in touch.
You too, bro.
Take us out.
All right. This has been the Kirk and Byrd Show, and we are out.
We're off.